Welcome to Custom Homebuilders Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software designed specifically for the professional home builder. This is going to be a continuation of talking about the items, the detail of items that you can set up behind Cost Codes Masters or behind Cost Codes. Please watch the previous videos about all of this. In this video, I want to talk about a place where you can go and see all items you set up from anywhere, from any job, because of a PO, and your generic items, etc. And so I've expanded Cost Codes Master Setup, and I'm going to click the All Items database. In this case, when I open it from where I just did, will show all items that you've set up anywhere behind cost codes. So you can see that there's a cost code. It'll be anywhere assigned to any job, that kind of thing. So as I scroll, you'll see there's different jobs going on right here. And then there's under the cost code, you can see where they've been checked marked for a budget. And if you see anything sort of in blue over here and slide over, that means they are an item attached to a purchase order also. So this is one big database, and what it can be useful for is, for one thing, when you set up your cost codes master, your various cost code center that you will be using for budgets, etc., you can attach generic items to those cost codes, and they will be attached to something called the H job, which means no job in CHS. So if you wanted to open the big items database and just search for the generic items that are not attached to a job and do a little bit of editing of those, notice how this pencil edit icon is only on the H job ones. It says things about this here. If it is attached to a job, you will need to go to the job budget worksheet and click the items for that particular cost code. And then if it's attached to a purchase order, you really need to edit it by, if you see the little purchase orders showing up here, you could click to drill down on the purchase order and edit the items there. That's because there's various rules and things going on, and budgets that need updated, and purchase orders that need updated, so you need to edit any of those items. Now if you click to delete an item that is attached to a job, CHS will go check and see if there's a budget check mark on it or if it's attached to a purchase order. And if it's not, it will, if I click the edit icon, it says it's a generic master item that is attached to a cost code, so it tells me that. And OK to delete, which I could delete it here. Or if I click one that's not generic, that not attached to the H job, it tells you that CHS has made sure it's not selected for the job budget, it's not connected to a purchase order, and do you still want to, so then do you want to delete it, because it won't affect anything that this item is attached to. So it's a good, great big database to control things. The other thing is that I'm going to refresh the search, which means it remembers that I'm sorry, I haven't done a search. So if you just wanted to see the generic items, you could search for the job H. If this has not been opened to show a list of items just for one job, which I'll show you that this same database can be opened to show a list of items for just one job or just one cost code from various places. But right now I have the full database open so I could submit a search, which means that I can just look at all the generic items. And generic items are set up attached to the cost codes so that you can go grab them when you're working on a job budget, select ones to grab, or on a purchase order, etc. So it's sort of it's a master of items that you will be reusing all of the time. And you can see the item title, the item assembly, and if it's a generic item, the area or room will always be NA. You set items to be in different rooms and areas when you're working on purchase orders and budgets. So if I refresh and bring back all of this, and let's just clear this search field, and let's say I want to just see all for an area, room. By the way, you can just type partial, so maybe I just type kitch instead of selecting kitch 1 and kitch 2, and I can find all items that have been assigned to something that has the word kitchen in it. See the area room here? So that way you can kind of look at, and then I could say I just want to see the ones for jobs, Smith job maybe. So I can study on those. And you can see how I'm just seeing now the ones for the Smith job and the ones that have kitchen in it for areas or room. I would imagine you might want to just look at one room at a time. You can see which ones are budgeted or not. If I do a search, I can say budgeted yes, and just get the ones that are budgeted so that I take a look at those. And then I could get a results report of whatever I searched for. So this one will be all ones that have Kitch 1. You can see that here. And every one of these will have a red block, meaning they are budgeted, and you'll get totals for the budget. You'll see Kitch 1 subtotaled here and Kitch 2 subtotaled here. So this overall looking at the great big database might be useful in getting some reports of some things you've done. You can get various items reports like this when you're working on the items on a budget or a purchase order, but I thought making a database would be useful. You could sit here and upload photos to be attached to them, or some PDF to be attached to different items. Notice that if I try to click this one to delete, it's going to say there's a purchase order attached to it, and this one doesn't have a purchase order, but it's going to tell me that, I'm sorry, it does have a purchase order. Excuse me. I think all of these that I searched for have a purchase order. But anyway, if it was budgeted without a purchase order, it would pop up a message about that. Now, if there's some things that are not on your generic item list, you can click the upward right-hand arrow to add it to the generic item master. CHS will look and let you know if there's already one there for that in the generic master. If you click the upward arrow icon to add a generic item right here, it's going to ask if it's okay, but if it finds a matching one, it says it has been added to the generic. It did not find a matching one. It's been added to the generic list, and it clicked the upward right arrow again to edit it, and it tries to attach it, but it says it's already set up, and it will open the window to just edit that generic item if you like, if it finds that it was already set up. So that's editing the generic master item, not an item for Smith John. So that's what that upward arrow icon, it has to do with being able to add things to your generic master that you might have set up for some job, and you want to be able to access that easily. I have returned to the home main menu, and I have clicked the button here for Active Jobs Dashboard. And what I'm going to do is, I selected a job already, and what I'm going to do is click the items database down here so that we will open the items database just for one job. So if you do a search, it says here this list may already be filtered for a job or cost code when it's opened. So if I searched for another job like the H job and did a search, it's going to tell me it can't find it. That's because this was originally open for just jobs for the Smith John job. If I refresh and clear the search, you'll see we bring back all the Smith John records only. So it depends on where it's open from. If it's opened from, there's a place now on the, and you see that you can attach items to different cost codes, and those are the generic master items. So if I click building permit items, I'll see all the items, the master generic items that have been attached to the cost code for building permits. But I could review all items for all jobs for this cost code. And you'll see now that it's open filtered to the cost code 1010 for building permits. So if you did a search for any other cost code, you would get no records returned. So that's why it says it could already be filtered for something, because you originally brought it in that way. So if I close that, you can, from the cost codes master, open that all items database. It shows all items for all jobs also. Now back on the jobs dashboard that I opened a minute ago, I clicked the job budget worksheet and report so that we have the budget for John Smith open. And I have scrolled down to where appliances are, and I'd like to show you, if we click on that, how we can get to the items behind appliances and then also open that great big database. So if we click the thing for edit items for budget for this cost code for the total appliance package, you can see that on this particular window we're seeing all the items from anywhere that has to do with this cost code for this job. So that's the one you're always using when you're working on a cost code on a budget, that it's starting to show you all the items from POs, items from everywhere, or selection, but it's building all of the items for that, which is kind of what we did if we go search and open the entire database and then we ask just for that cost code. If you want to see from here, instead of just the ones for appliances, you can open the items database for this job and see all the items just like we did from the items database from the jobs dashboard just a minute ago. But you can see how that you can get to that items database to do other kinds of work on other items for this job while you're on this window. And if you close this and go back to the window that you popped up when you were working on appliance package for the budget, there's another place that you could look at all the items for this particular cost code and job. For this cost code. So you'd see all the items for this cost code for all jobs. By clicking this cost code history and master info, you're going to get the window that we use to show where that cost code has been used in your database. And then if you click items, you'll get a list of all the items just attached to that cost code. But then you'll notice that you'll start seeing various different jobs. If you watch this jobs column while I scroll down, you'll see various different jobs that have items for that cost code. If there's some reason that you'd like to see all the items just for that cost code, which can also be seen from, if I close this and jump back to the cost codes master, that's the same window that would open if along this line on the cost codes master for 5505, if I click the use hyperlink, and you would get the items database if you clicked that. It's the very same thing that I just showed you. I think that's all I'd like to say about the big items database. It's just a place to manage, all of the items and be able to search for all items for different jobs or for different cost codes. Get some of them deleted, clean up your database, look up stuff, see what they are. So anyway, thanks for watching.